Hello and welcome to another video by myself, Chris from Sorare on a Budget. Today's video is going to be taking a look at the Austrian Bundesliga and some scouting that I have done there. So first of all, I'm going to go over an overview of the Bundesliga, the current standings there, and a selection of players sorted by position as per usual: defenders, midfielders and forwards. And this information is correct as of 6 p.m. tonight, which is the 20th of September. If you're new to Sorare, you're watching this video for the first time and you're looking to join up, you can do so on my link on the screen there. It'll also be in the description below, which is www.sorareonabudget.com. If you sign up there, you will get a free card once you've signed 5 from the new card auctions. That card will be tradable. You can use it to enhance your game week teams, or alternatively, you could sell it to buy other players. So, first and foremost, let's have a little look at where the Bundesliga stands at the moment. So the structure for the Bundesliga is there's 12 teams in the league. It's a 32-game season. It's a little bit complicated, but it's quite similar to the Scottish League in the sense that after so many games, it splits. So 22 games, basically playing each other home and away. After those 22 games, the league splits into 2. There's a championship section and there's a relegation section. Once that split happens, the teams within those 2 sections will then play each other home and away, which is another 10 games, giving you your 32. Now, there is a break in the season from the 11th of December until the 12th of February. Now, that is quite a big gap. However, it does give you the opportunity to, the season doesn't finish until I think it's 29th of May. So it is quite a long season, but that gap in the middle is one that you might want to keep an eye on and have alternative players during that winter period. Now, as you can see from the league table on the left there, that is correct after the weekend's fixtures. Salzburg are running away with it. The money team, no surprise there. If you look from 4th, though, all the way down to the bottom of the league, there's only 4 points cover all those teams. Now, obviously, there's going to be a team gets relegated at the end of the season, but at the moment that's a toss-up. The newly promoted team are Klagenfurt. They are doing pretty decent so far this season. They've got themselves up to 9 points, tied with 4th. But as you can see, it is quite tight. The only 2 teams that have kind of pulled away a little bit are Sturm Graz and SV Ried. They are doing quite well at the moment, but they could easily be dragged into the rest of the dogfight. So that gives you a little bit of an overview with the league itself and how it works and how many games are left. So you've got 24 games left in the season there. So there's a lot of utility still to have in these upcoming weeks and months. So first of all, I'm going to look at the defenders. The card I've got on the right-hand side there is Big Jan Zwischenbrugger. I'll come to him in a wee minute. But at the weekend there, he had a blinding game, although the Opta gods took a duel off him, which dropped him down from a triple-triple down to, I think it was a triple-double. But nonetheless, I'll go through the players in order. So what I've done is something a little bit different. I've put the limited prices and the rare prices on the screen at the same time here. So the rare cards within the Austrian League are very limited at the moment. There are only about 12 or 13, I think is the most of any particular card. So if you are looking to buy, if you're buying from the rare market, from other managers, some of the prices are quite inflated compared to what they had been going in the auctions. Now, obviously, I've put both there just so you could see what the recent auction prices have been and what the current market prices are. You may want to have a look and see if something like that's affordable. I don't have a set limit as such. What I did try to do, though, was the market average for the rares. I've tried to set that there at a maximum of 0.06, I think, was where I kind of cut that off. The market prices are a lot higher for some of those. With the limited cards, again, not particularly set on a limit. I think the second bottom there at 0.15 might actually be the most expensive out of all the cards. So without further ado, let's have a look. Again, I'll be referring to notes. I've got my trusty pad here just to go over some details. So the first one I've got on the list here is Maximilian Hoffmann. Now, he plays for Rapid Vienna, who are also in the Europa League, so that gives you some extra utility there for the midweek fixtures when the European campaigns are up and running. The last 5, he has 53 in the last 15 of 56. So he's slightly below his last 15 average, but pretty consistent. He has played in 6 games this season. He was rested at the weekend there against Red Bull after the Europa League fixture. He has played the 6 games, as I say. He has played them all as a captain as well. So fairly consistent. But with some of these teams, I have noticed as I've done the research, quite a lot of the ones that are in European competitions are resting players. So that might be something to be mindful. It might be great to have the midweek utility, but you might want to have something for the weekend as an alternative. And the next one I've got there is Jan Boller, 21 years old. So you've got under 23 utility here. He plays for Lask. They have Europa Conference football as well. So again, there's another one with extra utility. As you can see, last 5 of 56 and the last 15 of 52. His prices there for the limited card 006 and for the rare card 050. He was rested again after the Europa Conference game there. He did get an assist in that game, however, and he's played 4 of the last 5. So yeah, up and coming, trying to establish himself in the first team. So that may well be one you want to have a wee look at there. At the opposite end of the age spectrum, I guess you could say, Fabian Koch. He is the right back for Tyrrell. He's 32, but his last 5 average of 54. As I've always said, sometimes you will find that the wing backs are the better rated ones. All the ones on this screen, bar him, are actually centre backs though. So kind of blows that theory out the water a little bit. Average price rating on him quite low, 0.027. He's been an ever present. He's averaged 89%. He's averaged 89 minutes per game. He has had a goal, and he's also had a team of the week for the Austrian Bundesliga. So a pretty solid card. I don't think I could see it going against him as maybe his age. But 0.027 is the average, and on the market 0.033. That seems quite cheap for a guy that's averaging a decent score there. Next one is Torsten Maurer, centre back for Klagenfurt. He's been an ever present. He's played every minute, and he has captained in 6 of those games. 1 goal, 1 assist, and in a 3-1 defeat against RB Salzburg, he actually got 100. Now that was, I think it was something crazy like 7 blocks and 5, interceptions and 6. It was something crazy. So obviously a very solid defender, and likes to obviously get stuck in there. Now there was one just went on the market just before I started recording, so I have got not available underneath the rare market price for him. The one that was up was at 0.055. So again, for a player that's averaging 65, that's a pretty decent score, pretty decent price. The next 2 are from Altach, and they are obviously partners at the back. We've got Berkay Dabanle, and he has averaged 51. He's been an ever present. He has had 4 yellows though, so 1 more and you'll see a suspension. But look at that price on the rare market, 0.022 for a guy averaging 51. I mean, it's not world beating. It's not looking to necessarily challenge for cards. However, that is definitely a card that could help you towards thresholds and things like that. Jan Zwischenbrugger at the weekend there, as I said, he was sitting on a particularly high score. He was reduced down to, I think it was 73 from 84, and but his lowest score in the last 4 is actually 58. So he's been on a bit of a run of form at the moment, even though his team, they're sort of mid-table, but he did contribute to a clean sheet at the weekend there, which obviously was why he scored so highly. He's never present 100% of minutes. So he's one I touted on Twitter the other day, and a lot of the cheaper ones got snapped up. The cheapest one on the market is 0.055 at the moment. But he is averaging 60, so you can see why. Jonas Handel, another centre-back, 61 average. He plays for Austria Vienna. He was on the bench in the first 2 fixtures, but he's been an ever-present ever since. And the last 2 games have been clean sheets, and he's also had a goal, which reflects in that 61. Where I've got not applicable is because they've not played 15 games in Sorare data. don't give an average when there's not been enough games played by them that's been scored. So some of the ones that have, they tend to be the ones that have got European fixtures and have played qualifiers, they've played in Europe, things like that. So it does show that some of them will be not applicable for the last 15, but you could do some digging and you could see, how they're looking over that run of fixtures that they've had so far in the start of the season. They have played about 8 games each. So, next one, Konstantin Rehner. Just before I move on, you've obviously got under 23 utility with Handel there as well. So, but then we've got Konstantin Rehner. He plays for SV Ried and he has played 99% of minutes, 8 out of 8 games as a starter, 2 goals, and he's been pretty solid in the middle of a back three. They did concede 3 at the weekend there, but he's still averaging 59 points there. 59 points. The cheapest on the market is 0.057 for the rares and 0.15 for the limiteds. I would try to see if you get that limited one a bit lower than that, but because that seems a little bit high for a card, maybe only averaging at the 60 when there are other options there. The final defender is David Affengruer, 20 years of age, again under 23 utility. 54 average for the last 5, and his price is quite high on the market. The limited 0.014. So if you are looking for an under 23, that was the reason I included him in there. It's a pretty decent, price there. But again, you can maybe look at Jan Boller at the top there for less than half the price. So he has been never present except for the weekend there. He was rested after the Europa League. He plays for Sturm Graz. So again, you've got a European utility from him. We're going to move on to the midfielders. I've got quite a few. I'm going through this quite quickly, so you may want to pause and go back or pause and have a look at the players that I've got on the list. I'm just trying to keep the time of the video down a little bit. So the first midfielder I've got there is Srdan Grahovic. Now, he plays for Rapid Vienna, and he's a defensive midfielder. Average of the last 5 of 56 and the last 15 of 48. So as you can see, he's outperforming his average for the last 15. Market price and his average price are both the same at the moment, 0.048. Limited wise, 0.012. So he was on the bench at the weekend after the Europa League. So as I say, you might get great utility in the midweek fixtures, but you might have to have alternatives for the weekend because it does seem to be a little bit of rotation with some of the teams. 1 goal, 1 assist so far this season as well, so pretty solid. The next one I've got here is Ilil. I'm going to butcher these names. I always do. I say this every video, but I'm a guy from Dundee, and it's quite hard to pronounce some of these names for me. So Eliel Pretz, he's an attacking midfielder for Wolfsberger. Now he has played in all 8 games this season. However, the first 4 were as a substitute. However, the last 4 have all been as starters. He's got 1 goal and 2 assists in that period. Last 5 average of 54, last 15 of 39, but that's going to be hindered a little bit because he had those 4 games as a substitute, which would definitely bring down his overall average. But if you look at the prices, his average has been 0.024 for the rare, and the average for the limited 0.004. So that's a very cheap card. It's an attacking midfielder, so there's always opportunities for goals, assists, that sort of thing there as well. So the next 2 are both from Klagenfurt. They've got quite a few players that are not necessarily under the radar, but at a decent price for what they're actually scoring at. So first one I've got is Turgay Gemichibasi, maybe. Defensive midfielder, and he has averaged 60 for the last 5 games. At the weekend there, I believe it was 83 he had. One of my mates has got him, and he actually assisted Griel, which was handy because I had him. So the assist, there was an assist and goal doubled from them, which benefited both of us. I wish I had both for myself, to be fair. But both 25 years of age, and decent prices on those ones there as well. As I say, Patrick Griel, he's centre midfielder. He's 8 out of 8. He's played 93% of the minutes so far this season. 2 goals, 2 assists, and those 2 goals have come in the last 3 games. So he's on a bit of form just now. Reasonable price as well. for somebody that's pumping out a 59 average. If this card is in a different league, if he's sitting, if he's sitting at a French club, his price isn't, 0.053 or 0.059, it's a lot more. So if you're using these cards in Global or even in Challenger, they could certainly help push on. Moving on from there, a little bit lower in terms of averages for the next few. This was just to try and get some extra ones in here because I was trying to keep it over 50. There's some that were slipping under. So we've got Florian Flecker. He is from Lask, and he is also playing in the Europa Conference. So again, you've got extra utility. He's a right midfielder as opposed to a central midfielder. Average of 50 for the last 5 and 49 for the last 15, so pretty consistent. Market price 0.043, pretty decent price. With him being a wide player, that does give him opportunities of getting crosses in, assists attempted and actual assists themselves. So yeah, definitely one there. 91% of minutes, and yeah, it's a pretty solid card there. Lucas Malashek is the next one there, and he's a defensive midfielder, and he is from Admira. He was a substitute in the opening game, but he's been a starter ever since. He's played 77% of the minutes, 47 average for the last 5, 43 for the last 15. I would suggest that his rare price is a little high at 0.052, but that comes down to the fact he's under 23, so you've got a little bit of utility there as well. Solid enough numbers, could definitely do a job for you. Next one, Daniel Offenbacher, 29. He's played in both roles as a centre mid and a defensive mid this season so far. Last 5 average of 48, and I don't have a 15 on him. Average price on the market for the or average price of the sales for the rare 0.03. You can see the market price is a little bit higher. It's purely down to the scarcity of the cards at the moment. I mean, there is only 12 or 13 of them, so the more of these that come out, the prices could obviously come down because there's more availability of them. However, with more users joining Sorare every day, the demand could still be there for them as more cards come out. But I would keep an eye on the auctions to see what you could pick up. And lastly on the list, we have Manfred Fischer from Austria Vienna. Played 98% of the minutes, 8 out of 8 games. He is an attacking midfielder at averaging 49 for the last 5. So that's pretty decent and a good price there as well, 0.046. But as I say, he is only sitting at 49 average, so maybe playing a little bit below where he could be. But yeah, a decent score on there. So I'm going to move on to the forwards. I've only got 4 of these, so I'm not going to hold you up for the rest of your day. But I will go through these ones. I've got Thomas Goy. I'm going to say Go Ginger, but it's Goy Ginger, maybe. Right winger for Lask. Again, conference football. He had 2 substitutes appearances this season, but he has started all the rest of them, including all the European fixtures. So the rest tend to be after the European fixtures again. He's played 79% of minutes. He's got 1 goal from out wide. Fairly average in terms of his scores. This one was more for the limited average price as opposed to the rares. I think that's vastly overpriced. Again, that could change over the time, but for that score, for that price, it just doesn't add up for me. But for his limited card at 0.007, that's a fairly decent price for a forward, especially one that is going to is quite consistent around the 45 to 50 mark. The next one is Ade Nuhi. I don't even know how you pronounce it. Is it Nuhi? Anyway, he formerly of Sheffield Wednesday. When I posted him up a couple of weeks ago, there was some derision that he's still playing or whatever. But he's actually been playing pretty well for Altac. 7 starts out of 8, but he has participated in all 8 games. He's got 3 goals and 1 assist. He's played in 87% of the minutes. His price has been creeping up a little bit recently. I did have his limited card. It sold at the weekend, and it sold for a wee bit more than what the average is there. But 009 for the limited. The rare price for that, I think, is not too bad value. 057, which doesn't seem like a particularly expensive purchase for a centre forward that is playing in every game. But his age may count against that, and Altak aren't scoring a huge amount of goals, but he has been involved in a few. Even in a bounce game, he scored in that as well. So the next one is one that I've got is Marco Gerasim, centre forward for Austria Vienna. Now, his last 5 average is only 43. He's been in amongst the goals. I've had him for 2 game weeks. And in those 2 game weeks, I think he's got 5 big missed chances, which is 25 points off the tally right away. But what it shows to me is he is actually getting in about the opportunities, and I'm sure that'll come good. We all know strikers for our clubs that we support in real life ourselves. They go through patches like that when they're just snatching at opportunities. But when they come good, they go on a run of form. So I've no concerns about that. Limited price seems pretty good for him, 007. The average price for the rare is 063, and the market price at the moment is 075. I think I did have mine up at 075 or 08. But to be honest, unless something else fell into my lap, then I'm very happy with keeping hold of him just now. The next one, you'll notice it says right back beside him. In Sorare, he's a forward. In the real world, he's a right back, and he's played 1 game at right mid, and that's Julian Westmeyer. His price is much cheaper as well, 0.05. He's averaging 51. He plays for SV Riyadh as well. Now, he scored 2 goals in the weekend there, and they were 3-0 down, and he scored 2 of the comeback 3 goals. For a 3-3 draw, which was quite remarkable. It's just shame the Riyadh goalkeeper didn't keep a clean sheet, because it's my goalkeeper. But nonetheless, he's played 8 out of 8, 94% of the minutes. And do you know what? Sometimes there's these weird anomalies where a player's playing in a completely different position, but for value and for somebody that's playing every week, and a 51 average for the last 5 for a forward, and still getting them for less than getting them for 0.05. Pretty good deal to me. I don't really care what position they actually play. If their cards are forward and they're scoring pretty decent points, then it might be worth picking up, because a forward pulling in 50 will definitely help you towards your threshold. So that's a quick overview of the Bundesliga and some of the players there. Thank you to everybody that subscribed to the YouTube channel. If you've managed to make it this long into the video, more credit to you. Give the video a little thumbs up, and give it a subscribe as well to the channel. If you've any ideas for upcoming videos, by all means, get in touch and let me know what you think. And again, as I say, if you're new to Sorare and you're looking to sign up, you can do so at my link on the screen, www.sorareonabudget.com. You will get your free card when you've signed 5 from the new card auctions, and you will also get that link in the description below. My Twitter's on the screen. That is at Sorare on a Budget. I've been doing quite a few giveaways in the last couple of weeks, as well as firing up quick fire examples of players when I've come across something. And thank you very much for your time, and I hope you enjoy having a wee look at some of the Bundesliga players. And if you do pick any up, feel free to drop them on my Twitter page and let me know. Thanks again.